Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Om ajnanatimirandasya jnananjanashalakaya चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपादकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च. हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोस्तुते. तप्तकाञ्चन गौरंगी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपा तमहं वन्दे श्री गुरून् दीनतारिणं. श्री परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्यमीश्वरं. नमो विष्णुपृष्ठाय श्रीमते नमो विष्णुपाद कृष्णपृष्ठाभूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिने नामने. नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणी. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Mataji, it's a pleasure to be in your association today and discussing on the very, very important topic of Bhisma Panchaka on this, the last 5 days of the wonderful, wonderful Kartik month. By Krishna's mercy and Srimati Radharani's mercy, we happen to be here in Kartik for the last few weeks. In Vrindavan for the last few weeks, and we could really appreciate to some extent, not fully yet, but you could really appreciate the bhav, the amount of austerities that the various devotees are doing. Like yesterday, for example, was the last Ekadashi of the Kartik month. Actually, in Vraja, in the Vrindavan Dham here, the Kartik is counted from Kartik Mass is counted from Ekadashi to Ekadashi. We do it from Purnima to Purnima, right? So they do it from Ekadashi to Ekadashi. So yesterday was considered for the Vraja Vasis, yesterday was considered as the last day of the Kartik month. So there was lakhs of people doing Vrindavan Parikrama. We couldn't even move an inch in the Parikrama marg, so amazing it was, and all of them are so innocent, so religiously they were doing the Parikrama. That was with the innocent thing. We could, from their behavior, we could see a semblance of how the Brajvasis used to be when Krishna was personally present here 5,000 years ago. So it's a pleasure to really associate with them, or not associate. I mean, even take their darshan, have their audience, hear from them, observe them. That really gives the essence of devotion. That really shows us the essence of devotion. And we everything that Prabhupada has written in his books about Vrindavan, about Rajvasis, about the the devotees, pure devotees of Krishna, you can see in so many different ways, hearing them and observing them and so on. So it's a pleasure to be to associate with you all from the Vrindavan Dham, the home of Prabhupada, the home of Krishna. So today's topic, especially about the Bhisma Panchaka, let me be very honest with you, I am not qualified to speak on this subject because I have not observed Bhisma Panchaka myself so far. Primarily it is like, the month of Kartik, we are supposed to do more austerities to intensify our devotional service. And even within that Kartik month, the last 5 days are considered as the Bhisma Panchaka, the 5 days in which Bhisma Dev actually fasted in his last days, right? So we all know from the 9th chapter of 1st canto how Bhisma Dev was praying to the Lord, how he was maintaining his status even when he was shot down by Arjuna's arrows, right? In that huge fight, that tremendous fight that happened between the Kauravas and Pandavas, and especially between Arjuna and Bhisma Dev. We will look into those details a little bit as we go along. But before that, let's see, what exactly are we to understand from this, from our Bhisma Panchaka? What exactly we need to be doing, those who can do, and what to do for those who cannot cannot follow these kind of austerities, and what exactly does the austerities, these tapas that we are doing, what it actually means from Bhagavatam point of view, from Bhakti point of view. We will try to cover these things in a little bit in the available next 30-40 minutes that we have. So first and foremost, just a little bit about Bhisma Panchaka, which we have not so much of details into it, but only thing that we have from Hari Bhakti Vilas is that the last 5 days of the month of Kartik, it's traditionally called as Bhisma Panchaka. It's also called as Vishnu Panchaka. Actually, Bhisma Dev, when he was lying in the bed of arrows, abstaining from certain foodstuffs, food items. Please let me know if you are able to hear me clearly. Sometimes I get this network.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, you just cut out for the last 30 seconds.
Okay, I think that's when the internet became unstable, I think.
Yeah, but you're okay now, so if you can maybe repeat the last 30 seconds. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, just give me 1 sec, Prabhu. Am I okay now?
Yes, Prabhu, much better.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, sorry about that. So the whole idea of this austerities, what we are doing in terms of certain abstaining from certain foodstuffs or doing some extra chanting or all these things, they are one thing that we have to be clear about is all these are done for the pleasure of the Lord. So whether we are able to fast or not able to fast, or we can do more kirtans or more chanting, more Bhagavatam study, more Bhagavad Gita, whatever that we can do, or parikrama, all those things that we are doing should be only meant for the pleasure of the Lord. And Padma Purana confirms that one pleases the Lord and makes spiritual advancement by such austerities. We get up very early in the morning and go for Mangalarati. That's an austerity. Normally, people don't get up at that time. They just go to sleep at that time, isn't it? Most of the time when they go into, say, this bars or casinos and all that, we have these experiences. So this is the thing that which we normally do, like Yanisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Sanyami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sanisha Pashyato Munehe. So we follow that, right? And this the Lord tells that when someone is, because the Lord was very pleased with Bhisma Dev, and he agreed to give his pure love to all those who follow in his path. Agreed to give his pure bhakti, those who are following in Bhisma Dev's path. Now, please understand the position of Bhisma Dev just for an instant. He's already doing austerities. Who can lie down in a bed of arrows and still be alive and continue to do some seva? He was alive only to do his service to the Lord, only to please the Lord, nothing else. In fact, he had his ichcha mrityu with him. He had the desire to, he had the boon to die whenever he desired. Suppose I get some big wound in my body which I cannot tolerate. Then, and if I have the ichcha mrityu boon with me, then immediately I would like to give up, because many times we are suffering from diseases or old age or whatever. Many times we hear people saying that I don't want to live. I would like to give up this body. Right? So in such cases, when we have such a boon, then it's a real boon for us, because we won't have to suffer anymore. Right? But Bhisma Dev was not suffering like all others suffered. He was there only to please the Lord. His only aim was to please the Lord in whatever circumstances that he may put him in. And that is why Krishna gave the toughest of lessons, the toughest of conditions to Bhisma Dev to execute his bhakti. Every devotee in Bhagavatam had the toughest of situation in their lives while they were executing their bhakti to Krishna. Right? So this is, so the whole point here is that Bhisma Dev, already he was dying. If you know the situation, his entire body was pierced with arrows of Arjuna. From one side it came and came out from the other side. Right? We all know that. That's how the bed, he had the perfect bed made by Arjuna. And they said that between two arrows, there was not space to put two fingers there. That much was the number of arrows that he had in his in his body. And which means that there was no organ that was left unpierced by the arrows of Arjuna. But in spite of that, he sustained his life air in the most subtle way possible. In other words, his organs were not needed for him to continue his remembrance of Krishna, his remembrance of the Shastras and all that, which he duly transferred to or gave to Yudhishthira Maharaj in the next few days of his last few days of his life. Right? So this entire thing, we can understand one thing, that already he was doing so much austerity which nobody can imagine doing, but on top of it, he restrained from taking anything further in the last those 5 days, and that pleased the Lord extremely. That pleased Lord to the most. So these austerities, these austerities are actually very good for intensifying our devotional service. But austerities not with an aim to please the Lord will end up as dry austerities. It might only increase our pride, arrogance, and anger. We can see that in various situations where the great munis were doing intense austerities. But unfortunately, that element of bhakti was not present in there. So they ended up losing the power of that austerity, the power of that tapas that they did. But Can we imagine doing such tapas like, say, for example, Saubhari Muni or Vishwamitra, for example? Just from that, just imagine whether can we do it or not. We can't lie down inside the water for even 1 minute. Imagine staying inside the water for years together and doing tapas. So such things are not so very easy, but it should be combined with the aim to please the Lord. That is nothing but it's the pure devotional service is the ultimate aim of that, right? So that is why in this Bhisma Panchaka, one thing is very, very nice. We may fast from, say, suppose you are taking grains, you may fast from, grains and take only milk for those 5 days or for water for those 5 days. Some of them take this Panchagavya each 1 day, like that. There are different levels are there. But it according to one's capacity, one may do, or some may not even do that. Because their body may not agree to it in old age or whatever. So some may experiment it with Krishna's mercy. They may be able to do. Some may not be able to do, but no need to worry about, I am not having the capacity to do it. But more important than these austerities is that these austerities should be meant to please the Lord, which means if we increase our chanting, if we increase our Bhagavatam, and increase our study of Prabhupada's books, associate with devotees and hear from them, then that is the thing that will really please the Lord to the maximum, to the maximum extent. So this is where one beautiful point is brought out here as a prerequisite for the tapas, this austerity. What is that? That austerity is basically we should be preceded by remembrance of the great qualities of Bhisma Dev. Remembrance of the great qualities of Bhisma Dev. When we do that remembrance of the great qualities of Bhisma Dev, then we will get the blessings of Bhisma Dev. We will get the blessings of Bhisma Dev, because devotees always, in a very simple way, our spiritual master used to say one thing, that you see good, you meditate on the good in everybody, then you become good, because that quality comes in us. If we meditate on the bad qualities of somebody, then that quality comes in us. That is how we also get affected by our meditation on, say, someone or some place or some situation, whatever. Our modes also get affected. So Bhishma Dev's qualities are so beautifully delineated in Srimad Bhagavatam in various places. The first canto, 9th chapter, in that entire chapter is for the glorification of Bhishma Dev, right? So when it is said very nicely that the fast should begin by remembering Bhishma Dev on Ekadashi day and should end on the Purnima, the fifth day. And then whatever that we can follow, like just follow fruits, vegetables, etc. Those are into the details, which I will not get into, which is anyway available in the forums where you can get into it. And according to your capacity, one may follow. But the most important thing is meditating on the pure devotee Bhishma Dev and his great qualities and how he prayed to Krishna, how he exhibited his transcendental qualities. Throughout Mahabharata is there, but as a silent observer or silent preacher, just like Vidura is also. And in the 9th chapter, his entire qualities are brought out, so beautifully. So we will look into it. But before getting into that, we just want to understand how these things stack up, the austerity, how that austerities are to be done, how the vows have to be taken, what are the relationships, that we'll try to see a little bit to some extent. So first of all, we should understand that this austerity, the tapas, the tapas is the austerity. One sec, Prabhu's Mataji. Sorry, some background thing is there which might. Are you getting some background noise in my thing? I am on headphone.
Yeah, it's like somebody talking in the back.
Yeah, I'm in a room where I am not able to
No,
1 minute.
no, we can hear you distinctly. Carry on, Prabhu. Don't worry.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. So the whole important thing here is, we have to understand the relationship between tapa, vrata, and tyaga. Tapa is austerity, vrata is vows, tyaga is sacrifice. We are sacrificing. So this tapa, by default, we consider this as austerity. But you will see that it gives some very important, Prabhupada gives some very, very beautiful outlook, or a perception of how we can understand this tapa word according to our situation. Say, suppose if I say that tapa means austerity, then someone will say that going and doing tapas in the Himalayas is the actual tapas. You see, but that is not the actual tapas. If you see, the real tapas means, Prabhupada says in the Bhagavatam 1:16, 26 to 30, it means, Prabhupada says, trueness to one's responsibility. This is the real meaning of tapas that Prabhupada gives. If you have to understand the words, this word tapa, tyaga, etc., tyaga means sacrifice, we say. But what actually is sacrifice? What actually is tapas? Tapas is not just standing into one leg like how Hiranyakashipu was standing. We can't even do that, right? But tapas means, Prabhupada gives a beautiful meaning, that is trueness to one's responsibility. Our responsibility is given to us. We as devotees, we are responsible for certain things. How to exhibit the quality of devotees, how to behave as a devotee, what does it exactly mean to be a devotee? Devotee means, if by us, if by our seeing us, if they can remember Krishna, that is real devotee, isn't it? That is a real devotee. If we cannot do that, if somebody is not able to remember Krishna by seeing us, then it means that we are lacking something. So that is our real responsibility of being a devotee, is to make others remember Krishna, or becoming devotees of Krishna. To that extent, we need to follow this tapas. You see, if I follow all these austerities, if I follow all these say the parabratas, etc., and then I become angry at someone, or I become upset at someone, or I'm proud of my austerities, then what will the people say? They'll simply say one small word and go away. What they will say? That hey, he is doing so much austerities, but he cannot control his anger. He seems to be a great devotee, but he cannot control his own pride. So instead of bringing them closer to Krishna, I am taking them away from Krishna. Every time they see someone with a tilak or kantimala, they will immediately say, remember me only. That devotee, that other devotee may be a good devotee, but instead of getting inspired by that devotee, he will go and ask, oh, you are from ISKCON? I saw one of your devotee, ISKCON devotee, but he was not behaving all right, What are they teaching to you? What is it that you are trained with? So even if Krishna is giving that person another opportunity to become a devotee through another person, my impression creates so much negativity in that say new person, that he cannot take the devotional the inspiration that a genuine devotee is giving, which means I should behave as a devotee. That is my responsibility as a devotee. My responsibility as a husband may be one thing which I will have to exhibit. So easily someone might come and tell me that, oh, Prabhu, you are doing all devotion very nicely, but you are not doing the responsibilities of a husband or a wife, or as an employee or a staff in a company. Then we are not setting a good example. The trueness to our responsibility means whatever it takes, we will do to make sure that we complete our what we want. Taking ownership of a service or a responsibility that is given to us. That is the real meaning of this word. See how much Prabhupada has gone into the depth of this word tapa. And this is exactly the meaning of austerity. Now we will just try to apply this thing and to some examples. See, father, mother is there, and the child, they have a child that's growing, and the child is, having suddenly some illness. The father has a very important meeting at work. Mother is very busy with something else. What do? They leave everything that it's very priority for them, and then they come and take care of the child. So the priority is given to that which is to be given. That is what this means by trueness to our responsibility. If I simply say that, oh, no, I love you, I love my child, but I mean, right now I'm busy, I cannot help. And that is not trueness to our responsibility. That's why that verse is very important, that Guru na satyat, Pita na satyat, Janani na satyat. We have all that, right? You cannot become a father, guru, or mother unless you take them beyond this ocean of birth and death. Let them help them cross this ocean of birth and death. See, this is how we should understand the word tapas. Tapas means trueness to our responsibility. Then Krishna gives another beautiful meaning to the same word tapa in Bhagavatam 11th canto, when he instructs to Uddhava. In 11th canto, 19th chapter, verses number 36 to 39, Uddhava asks a series of questions. What is meant by being rich? What is meant by being poor? What is ugly? What is beautiful? What is austerity? What is tyaga, sacrifice? Like, there are so many things he's asking. And Krishna gives a very beautiful understanding, insight into the word tapas there. Kama tyagas tapas mritam. When we are renouncing our lust, that is understood to be the real sacrifice, real austerity. You see, lust here does not mean only our inclinations towards, sexual attraction. No, it is not the only thing. My lust for power is also lust. Lust for money is also lust. And lust is what is transformed into greed. And when it is affected, it turns into anger, right? So giving up that lust is what we call as austerity. That is another way of understanding. If you look into it, there is always this lust leads to grabbing tendency. Lust leads to greed. When we cannot give up all these, substandard qualities that's not supposed to be in the human beings. In fact, they are not present even in animals or birds, for that matter, isn't it? The famous example that Prabhupada gives, that you keep a bag of rice in the middle of a road, the bird will come and take just a bit of whatever is fitting into its beak. The animals may come and take only that which is fitting into its mouth. But you let a human being, before even another person comes, the entire bag he will take into his home. Right? So that is what is grabbing tendency. And we can see that it's there in all of us in various degrees. And it's the austerities, the sacrifice, etc. that we are doing is mainly to get rid of these, base mentalities, which is stopping us from intensifying our devotional service. Right? So this is what is, to some extent, we can understand what is austerity. Now, you see, you may say that Hiranyakashipu did big austerity. Some sages are doing big austerity in the Himalayas. But when you say, suppose you are going in a metro I don't know how busy is Auckland. Usually, my Guru Maharaj used to joke that, rush hour means 4 people walking on one side of the street and 5 people walking on the other side of the street in Auckland. It might be some years ago. Now there might be more crowd. But the real austerity you see when someone has to travel in Mumbai metro or in New York metro, wherever, London metro, whichever you take, the big cities. Literally, you have to stand with one leg and one hand. That's as good as standing like Hiranyakashipu. And we are going like that fulfill our responsibilities, to our commitment to our work, commitment to our families. And unless we earn our bread, how can we help others and our family survive, right? So in many ways, we are actually, when we are true to our responsibilities, we are managing the various, we are given 10 different balls and we only 2 hands. Somehow or other, we are juggling them all and to keep them from falling down, isn't it? Like I do have my office work. When Mataji said that, you probably, we have this Monday, can you give class? I said, okay, this is fitting into my lunch time. Okay, I can do that. And I just informed my office colleagues that I'm off for this during this lunchtime, because we get calls even during lunchtime. No? So just wait for an hour, and we will continue with our work after that. So somehow or other, we manage these priorities. The prioritization and managing the priorities is what helps us in being true to our responsibilities. Ignoring it does not help. There is always this tendency to show ourselves as busy. That I'm too busy. There are 2 things. One is we say I am busy. I'm sorry, I could not call you because I am busy. Or the other things that sometimes we do is that, oh, you are too busy, so I didn't want to disturb you. That's another sophisticated way of saying, But actually speaking, for just taking a minute or 2 to check how are you, how is everything, from the heart, basically, not just superficially. It doesn't take much time, really. And we have seen many times when we were with our Guru Maharaj, Srinivas Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, that when we were with him, wherever he was traveling or staying, he would, even if 5 minutes he will just think about, oh, I will have to call this person, and then what is the time there in Minneapolis, what is the time in Singapore or in Auckland. He will compare that, and he will call the person or ask us to call, and like that, somehow or other he will establish the connection. And that 2 minutes of that talk really rejuvenates the devotee. And that is what he was telling, that this is my responsibility as your spiritual master. This is my responsibility as your spiritual master to give you the courage to continue in your devotional service. And that is where our purity increases, when we also are continuing with our responsibility carefully. So Bhisma Dev exhibited this to the maximum extent. We will see how he was being so responsible. So one thing is about giving up the lust, is the real austerity. The second thing is about being true to our responsibility. That is the real austerity. That is what the real tapas mean. Whether you are being a mother or teacher, or I've seen many times, we have seen sometimes devotees, of course, they are very busy with services, say in the temple or in the congregation, whatever. But when you go inside the home, you will see that the vessels are not washed, the floors are not clean, or the bed is not cleaned up, and things will not be in shape. When we ask, sometimes devotees might say that, they say sometimes that, no, Prabhu, we are busy with preaching, we are busy with helping others understand Krishna consciousness. Yes, that is important. But if the same person comes and sees our home, then what will he think about us? Are we setting a good example? What is the example that we are setting? Prabhupada always said devotee means spick and span clean, inside and outside. So whether it is home or whether it is temple, that is why there's a famous statement that my Guru Maharaj used to say that don't be a devotee only in the temple, be a devotee everywhere. We are not able to be peaceful. We are not being peaceful in this world because we are selective devotees. We are calculative devotees. Our devotional service is dependent on where I will be respected. I go to the temple and I behave as a devotee because there I get respect. At home, even if I behave as a devotee, I don't get respect. So what do? I simply say that there is no respect I have, so I don't have to behave as a devotee. So, but the thing is that being a devotee should be without any expectation of respect or reciprocation. Whether somebody is accepting us as a devotee or not, we have to be devotees. That is what is expected from us, right? Our Duryodhana never accepted Bhishma Deva as a. Prabhu, just give me 1 second. I think there will be some noise that is coming. I'll try to move to a different place and connect. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Okay, fine.
I'm sorry, I'm in a different place. So. Okay, too much. Prabhu, can you hear me here?
Yes, Prabhu. Nice, clear.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so we were talking about how Bhishma Dev had to tolerate all these various people, like Duryodhana, etc., without expecting any respect. Duryodhana never accepted Bhishma Dev as a devotee of Krishna. He was always seeing him as, okay, he's meant for sacrificing his life for me. So as much as possible, I can extract from him. I should extract. So he was exploiting. He was even with the people like Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra. He continued to be devotees. He never told him that hey, I am a devotee, I am your grandfather, you should respect me. He didn't ask all that. That is what is real devotee mean, isn't it? So this is the thing about tapas. Kama tyagas tapasmritam. He had no lust, no nothing in him. We will see that details with a little bit more if we have time. I'm sorry I was interrupting a little bit because I am in a different place. We are supposed to stop sharp in another 15 minutes, right, Prabhu Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, I will try to close by that time. Now, this tapa can be done only with tyaga. Tyaga means sacrifice. We always say tyaga, we renounce, we sacrifice. So what is really sacrifice mean? In that same verse 1:16-26, the 5 verses, Prabhupada gives such a beautiful meaning to the word tapas. Tyaga. Tapas we saw, tyaga. Tyaga means, Prabhupada, normally we say sacrifice, but Prabhupada says magnanimity. What is really magnanimity mean? Now think over it a little bit, Prabhu Mataji. This is Prabhupada. What he is doing is he is giving us real insight, the actual meaning of these words like tapa, shuchi, tyaga, damba, all those different words. This is what he is bringing us to, because many times we repeat these words like humility, Prabhu, I am not humble, I want to be tolerant, but we don't understand the actual meaning of these words. That is why Prabhupada's words, word-to-word meanings have to be literally meditated on deeper and deeper. So this word magnanimity is very, very interesting, because what is magnanimity means? Suppose I am saying I am sacrificing something, right? The real tyaga is that which when I sacrifice that which is really important for me, that which is really needed for me. You understand? That is when I am magnanimous. If I suppose give up some torn clothes to someone, I cannot call that as tyaga, right? I was anyway going to throw it away. and somebody is giving their black money as a donation, that is not Tyaga. They are just escaping the government's or the tax department. So real Tyaga is that which you are offering as a sacrifice, as a honest, from our honest endeavor, that which you value really. So what is it that we have in our hand? Money I can give as much as I want because it's always come back. But the time that we are giving, all of you are giving your time for say this 15-20 minutes of hearing. So this is your Tyaga. You are sacrificing your valuable time for what? To know more about Krishna, to learn more about Krishna, to appreciate Krishna more, to appreciate devotional service more. You see, that is why it is called magnanimity. I am magnanimous. I am magnanimous in giving to someone which I hold really true, too close to my heart, and that which when I lose, I will not get it back again. Say, suppose this 1 hour is lost from us, you will not get it back again. Of course, Bhagavatam says those who are giving their time for Krishna Katha, glorification of Krishna, they get it back in multiple times. It is multiplied so many times more, right? But devotees don't think that way. Devotees, they give it without expecting anything in return. Even the time that we are giving it in, we are giving without any expectation. So Tyaga, when we are doing tapas, we can do tapas only when we are able to do Tyaga. The Tyaga is sacrifice, that sacrifice means magnanimity. And these two, when they are combined together, they give us that gives us the vrata. Vrata is promise. I'm a Dhrida Vrata. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, right? Yesham tu antakatam papam jananam punya karmana te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam Dhrida Vrata. Prabhupada says so beautifully in one of his conversations. Dhrida Vrata means you must promise that I shall chant at least minimum so many times. This is called Dhrida Vrata. And then Prabhupada goes on to say further that Dhrida Vrata is actually, Dhrida means fixed, very fixed, and Vrata means promise or vow. So our vow is fixed. Like they say, that Sanatana Goswami's vows were like that which is carved in a stone. Raghunath Das Goswami is also, yes. So that which is like carved on a stone, their vows were. They will never give up on their vows of chanting or Shastra, glorification of Krishna, deity worship at any cost. This is the greatest examples that they have set for us. That's why Prabhupada is always loves to quote this line in the Goswami Ashtakam, Shad Goswami Ashtakam, Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana Natibihi Kalavasane Stitav. Sankhya Purvaka Nama Gana means chanting. There's a specific number of rounds they were doing every day at any cost. Right? Natibihi, that is a very nice word. Nati means pranati. Nati means my obeisances that I am offering. The obeisances that I am offering, Raghunath Das Goswami used to count so many number of obeisances he will do every day to Govardhan Giri and to the Lordships, to the Shamkund, Radhakund, and all that in his parikrama. And same is all the other Goswamis, Shar Goswamis. So that is a Sankhya Purvaka. Sankhya is not like, to show to somebody that, hey, I have done this much, I have done that much. No, that is to make sure that we don't slip on our vow. We say 16 rounds, means 16 rounds we are counting because we don't slip on our vow. We read, say, 1 hour or a few verses of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam every day. It means that we fix a particular time and we do that, then we don't slip on our vow. Right? So this is how when we are doing our austerities, this is how the sequence goes, Prabhu's Mataji's. Austerities can be done only by sacrificing something, especially that which is either very dear to us or which is very difficult for us to give up. We will be liking something very much, but we will give it up. Like Bhakti-Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave up eating mango just for that one word right from his childhood. That was one word from his father. Right? So austerity can be done only by sacrificing something which is very dear to us or difficult to give up. And unless we take a strong vow or promise, vrata, we cannot do sacrifice. So that strong vow is very important. But how do we take a strong vow? Because our senses are always going everywhere. That is where Bhagavatam says so beautifully, for vows, to take vows, we need determination. Drida vrata, no? The drida sankalpa. So that sankalpa, determination means sankalpa. And Bhagavatam 7:15-22 so beautifully says, Prabhu Mataji, so nicely, asankalpa jayet kamam. We started off with austerity is done by giving up. Austerity means giving up the lust, correct? The sense gratification, lust for sense gratification. Now see how it comes into a circle. That austerity can be done only by sacrificing something which is dear to us. And in order to sacrifice something, we have to take a strong vow or promise, that is the vrata. And in order to do that vrata, we need to have drida sankalpa. And that sankalpa is called, that's what Krishna is so nicely said in Bhagavatam, that asankalpa jayet kamam. Asankalpa jayet kamam is by making plans with determination, one should give up desires for sense gratification. One can conquer the lusty desires for sense gratification. This is how Bhagavatam says so beautifully. So we make plans with determination. At any cost, I will go to Mangalarti. I might have slept at 2 o'clock in the morning, but 3:30 I have to get up and go to Mangalarti. That is the real vow. And we can always sleep later in the day. There is nothing that stops us from sleeping later sometime, catch up for the sleep at a later point, right? So this is something which we do, determination. Vrata requires determination, right? And without sacrificing things which distracts us, we cannot intensify our bhakti. And without intensifying our bhakti, we cannot please the Lord. Ultimately, all these vratas, tapas, tyagas, sankalpa, everything is meant to please the Lord. This is how the sequence goes for in this connection of this, how they are all linked with each other. Austerity, tyaga, tapa, sacrifices, tyaga, promise, it's vrata, and then determination is sankalpa. They are all so nicely connected in a stack, in a nice circle. This is how we are able to kama yesha krodha yesha rajoguna samudbhava. Krishna says, right? All this kama krodha which you give up by doing this tapa tyaga with drida sankalpa and following the vratas. Now let's quickly go into, we have to meditate on Bhismadev's life. Like take a few minutes to, we can't get into the full depth of Bhismadev's each instance, but at least we will mark it out. We will at least see at a very high level, so that we can meditate more deeply in our free time. Next 5 days is there for us to meditate so nicely throughout the day about the glories of Bhismadev. Our spiritual master had given some very, very beautiful insights into Bhismadev's life, which we have not heard before. Otherwise we just see Bhismadev as some old person, maybe a saintly person, not beyond that. But he is a Mahajana. Bhismadev is one of the best Mahajano yena gatasapanta, we say, right? So Bhismadev's entire life is a sacrifice and was filled with unlimited austerities. Every step of his life was an austerity. See, if you see his early life, it was nothing but his early life was nothing but full of pain, because as a child, the child needs both mother and father. But when his stage was such that up to say 12-13 years he was with his mother, but he could not be with his father. That was how the agreement was between Ganga and Shantanu. And when he grew up into a teenage boy, mother left him with the father and went away. So he had to live only with the father. So he never had both of them together. That is not a very good thing from a Sanskriti point of view, from the culture point of view, from the upbringing point of view. but still he was a very saintly person. He could, and he could accept that. But you see, in a very young age, when he was about to become the Yuvraj and everything was planned, the fate played such a cruel role in his life that he had to give up his throne. Not only that, and he had to give up his the desire to marry also. He had to take a vow of lifelong brahmacharya. How it is possible for someone to do that just for the sake of serving his father's desire? His father was also a great person, but he had his desire, lusty desire behind Satyavati. But he himself went and brokered the marriage for Satyavati and Shantanu by talking to Satyavati's father. So that itself was his tyaga that he did. And then he married his brothers born of Satyavati, that is Chitrangada and Vichitravirya, to the girls, to the Amba, Ambika and Ambalika, but they didn't have the capacity to go and fight and win in the Swayamvara. On their behalf, he went and he fought for them and he won them over. There's a lot more details into it, but we'll not get into it. There is, again, in that process, what happened? Amba already had a relationship with Shalya, the other king, and he didn't know that. Bhishma didn't know that. So after bringing her, that is Amba said, no, I wanted to marry this person. And then he said, oh, if that is the case, I can leave you there. But Shalya, he said, I will not marry you. You have been already taken away by Bhishma Dev. She again comes to Bhishma Dev. Bhishma Dev refuses. I have taken this vow. I cannot do anything. Now, see how you take a vow. There is also one more thing that we have to understand here is that our vows should be followed in such a way that it does not unduly disturb others. Here, unknowingly, Bhishma Dev had to incur the curse of Amba, the anger and curse of Amba, even though he did not intend to do that. Right? So this is another thing. And he went to the extent of protecting his vow, even though his own guru was telling him to marry. If I was told by my Guru Maharaj to marry, I will immediately go around telling everybody that, oh, my Guru Maharaj told me to marry. That's why I'm marrying, as if I don't have the desire to marry otherwise. Right? So Bhishma Dev was not like that. Parashuram, Krishna's incarnation himself could not convince him to marry. Right? So that also he did. That is another sacrifice. He was able to follow the Dhrida Vrata in spite of the attraction. He lived his life all alone. Nobody could see how he was managing himself. Nobody came to ask him that, can we do some help to you? No. But always you see, Bhishma Dev was there for everybody at their critical juncture. Even to that extent that when he was lying in the bed of arrows and Krishna brought the Pandavas led by Yudhishthira Maharaj to see Bhishma Dev and learn from him. At that time, Bhishma Dev, first thing what he is saying, Aho kashtam aho anyayam yadyuyam dharmanandanaha jeevitum na arhata krishtam vipradharma achyuta shreyah. He says, how many kashta, how many difficulties and injustices that people who are following strictly dharma had to face. But only because you are strictly following Krishna, Vipra, Dharma and Achyuta, Krishna, Dharma and following the spiritual leaders, you are able to survive these onslaughts. Otherwise, you don't Jivitum na arhata Krishnam. You are not supposed to be alive also. Actually, he is lying down in the bed of arrows, but he is feeling empathetic for the Pandavas. That is the real devotee who is doing sacrifice in devotional service, who is doing austerity in devotional service. On the platform of devotional service, one should do the austerities and sacrifices, you see. Otherwise, it will become like, say, how Shaubari Muni had to curse and Vishwamitra had to curse and all that. And then he got the boon to give up his body at any time, but still he tolerated all the pains. Only reason is he wanted to do the service to Krishna. Krishna had kept a dedicated service for him. That is, you throughout your life, you are such a Bhagavata, Maha Bhagavata, but you could not even speak once glorifying Krishna, glorifying me in front of anybody, right? So I will give you the chance now to speak. But this is a situation where he is in the most painful situation, but he didn't care. Krishna, if you are ordering me to do a service, you will give me the power to do that service also. So what did he do? Krishna told him, you have to now give all the knowledge that you have, you should give it to your grandson, Yudhishthira Maharaj. He is the right capable person to hear. Now, in that most painful, most critical situation also, Bhisma Dev speaks about Raja Dharma, Moksha Dharma, Stri Dharma, Bhagavad Dharma, everything he speaks. And it's only one verse in Bhagavatam, but in the Mahabharata, the Shanti Parva is about say 120, 130 chapters long. And so much they are talking, so much in detail. Bhishma Dev is explaining the answers to the most intelligent questions of Yudhishthira Maharaj. So he did this service ordered by Krishna. He was till he was giving this service, Krishna was there in his side, behind him, by his head, by his side, behind him, and all the other Yudhishthira Maharaj, everybody was surrounding him. All the Pandavas were surrounding him, and he was giving all the knowledge. But once the knowledge is over, Bhishma Dev does a very beautiful thing. What he does, when all the knowledge transfer is over, we say knowledge transfer in our IT field, when you have to leave, you have to give knowledge to the other person who is taking over from you. So like that, Bhishma Dev was giving all the knowledge to Yudhishthira Maharaj. After giving all the knowledge, he says a beautiful, there is a beautiful sloka that tells how he prays to Krishna, because he says to Krishna that, Krishna, I did all the austerities for doing service to you, but now I have one desire. What is that? The time that you have given me, I have utilized most of this time to give the knowledge to the service that you asked me to do. Apart from that, now I want to glorify you. That is for my pleasure. See, all these things I did as per your desire. This is my desire. What is that? I have to glorify you. And that is when the most beautiful prayers of Bhishma Dev comes. And we will end with this one beautiful sloka, Prabhu's Mataji's. I only listed 2 or 3 instances where we can highlight the austerities and sacrifices of Bhishma Dev, but we have to end. Time is of the essence. So we'll try to understand this one verse and close. I hope Mataji's and Prabhu's will give me some 2 minutes to read this verse. Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshataam Kalevaram Yavadidam Hinomyaham Prasannahasarunalochanollasan Mukham Bhujo Dhyana Pataschaturбhujaka. The translation goes like this: May my Lord, who is four-handed and whose beautifully decorated lotus face with eyes as red as the rising sun is smiling, kindly await me at that moment when I quit this material body. Such a beautiful verse, Prabhu's Mataji's. We can meditate on this shloka and the prayers for the next 5 days. Eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want. Still, our Bhisma Panchaka will be successful. Because at the end of the day, Krishna does not want only for us to follow Bhishma Dev's this last 5 days of the activity of giving up the food and thing, but he wants us to also follow in the mood of Bhishma Dev, in the devotional mood, the bhava of Bhishma Dev. So what does he say? He is telling to the Lord, Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam. Before he starts this, Pratikshatam, let the Lord wait for me. Can anybody tell the Lord, you please wait for me? Can we tell to Yamaraj that please wait for me? I have some bank work to do. I will finish that and come to you. No, he will. Yamasya karuna na asti. But kartavyam hari kirtanam. When we do hari kirtanam, even Yamaraj had to wait. So the same way, Bhishma Dev is telling Krishna that, Krishna, you have come to take me with you, but you please wait, because I have some service to do and I have some glorification for you. I have to do your glorification also, because people take you for granted. Sadeva Devo Bhagavan Pratikshatam. Let him wait, please wait, Krishna. Kalevaram yavad idam hinomyaham. As I am giving up this Kalevaram, means body. Kali is Varam, Kali has given us a boon. Like Bhisma got his boon of Ichamrityu from his father. But when we come in, we all also get boon from Kali. What is that? This body, This body is the Varam that Kali has given, which is full of diseases and lamentation, illusion and everything, right? So Kalevaram yavad idam hinomi aham. Hinomi aham means I am giving up. As I am giving up this body, Krishna, please wait for me. Don't go away. You have come all the way to take me. I know that, but you please don't go away. Please wait. And how you have to wait? Prasanna hasa arunalochanollasan. How beautifully he is describing Krishna. See, in that condition, Bhisma was not eating anything. Nobody will come and give him rasgullas and gulab jamuns when he was lying down in the bed of arrows, right? He was given only Ganga water, and last 5 days he stopped that also, right? So in that condition, his eyes were closed and it was just filled with tears, and he was so tired. He was about to give up his body. And that time he's saying, Prasanna hasa aruna lochana ullasan. Ullasa. Ullasa means one who is always joyful. Prasanna hasa. Give it that very beautiful, that prasanna, that cheerful smile. Krishna, please wait in that path, dhyana patha. I'm meditating on you, Krishna. You please stand in that path, and with that prasanna hasa, with that beautiful smile, that enchanting smile. Aruna Lochana, your eyes are like the morning rising sun, so beautiful to look at and so powerful. So it actually brings light. It brings colors to our lives. Sun brings colors to our lives, they say. Without sun, everything will be same dark color, isn't it? So like that, you are bringing cheer and joyfulness into our lives. So Prasanna Hasa Arunalochana Ullasan, because you are always joyful. When we see you, even we also lose our all anxiety, lamentation, everything, and we are also joyful. Mukhambujo Dhyanapatas Chaturbhuja. I am seeing you, Mukhambuja, lotus face, and Dhyanapatas. I am in my path of meditation. You please be there, because I don't have the power to turn here and there and look for you. You are right there in near my feet. You are standing there. I know you are there to take me. So please stand there, Krishna. Please wait for me, Krishna, as I am doing the service to you. And Krishna obliges duly. When we do our service, Prabhu's Matajis, immaculately, without unmotivated and uninterrupted service, that seva is what is going to attract Krishna. And Krishna, that's when he says, I become their servants. Yatpad Yatsevaya Charana Padma Pavitra. Those who are servants, I become their devotees, their servants. And by becoming servants of my servants, I get the power to destroy all the sins of all the universes. This is how Krishna himself says in Bhagavatam. So I stop here, Prabhu's Matajis. I'm extremely sorry for taking a few more minutes. I know there were some disturbances in between. My sincere apologies for the same. I hope and pray that all your vratas for not only this next 5 days, but also for the rest of the life comes out successful. The greatest vrata that we can take is to study Prabhupada's book seriously and cheerfully and joyfully, and also distribute the knowledge to others. So Krishna willing, we will all pray to Lord Damodara, to Bhisma Dev, and to Srila Prabhupada and Srila Gurudev, that we somehow or other serve them nicely and distribute this transcendental knowledge and this transcendental bhakti to everyone whom we come across. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Do you have any few minutes to spare, or can you take some comments, or?
I can take. I'll leave it to the organizers if there is.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji and Mataji, anybody got any comments or question? Short. We got a few minutes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Is that Vishnupati Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna,
So
Prabhu.
nice to see you.
Yeah.
We have
I just
newspaper.
wanted to ask you one question. Is
Yeah.
that, you mentioned that, our vows must be so that we should not unduly disturb others.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
so
I know a question will come in that statement.
how do we know that, Prabhuji? Because you see, Bhisma had made that vow, and he didn't know that he would be into trouble, fall into trouble. So when we make such vows, how do we know that? That is my question.
Very, very good question, Mataji. One thing that our spiritual master said is that we will know it disturbs others when we ourselves are disturbed by that vow. So when the austerities become dry, Mataji, then what will happen is we will only be looking for some kind of a reciprocation from others or some kind of acknowledgement from others for what we are doing. That is when Krishna withdraw that acknowledgement, and then we will start chasing that acknowledgement rather than doing your service without expectation. Very simple. You just sit and do your chanting. Like I have this here in Vrindavan every day. Somehow or other, I like to chant in Prabhupada's quarters, Prabhupada's room. So we go there, and it's a nice ambience. Everybody is sincerely chanting. So I go there and I chant. First day I chanted, and I just came back. But one devotee said, Prabhu, you are chanting very steadily. Thank you so much. I was also falling asleep a little bit, but it helped me, be awake. Then that acknowledgement is the biggest poison for us. And someone gives you garland, you will be happy. The next day you go and sit there. When they are taking out the garlands, you will automatically be looking for that person to, give you that garland, isn't it? So this is how our mind plays tricks, and that the reason is because we are giving gap between sevas. The Maya can enter in through the gap between the services. The moment I do my chanting, I do my, say, darshanarti, etc. Then as soon as I go out, what am I doing? I talk with everybody, like, okay, where we go for prasadam, this, that, etc. Instead, Maharaj used to say one very interesting thing, which really astounded, stumped many of them in London when Maharaj gave a statement in one of the classes. He said, actually speaking, we all can chant 25 rounds every day, not just for this Kartik Vrata. Every day we can chant 25 rounds. So the entire audience went in disbelief, they were shocked. And at the end of the class, one devotee even asked, Maharaj, you said, how can we do it? Then Maharaj said, simple ways to do it. So you do your 16 rounds anyway in the morning between Mangalarti and Darshanarti. But after that, after the class, Bhagavatam class is over, when you stand in the queue for prasadam, instead of doing gossip, just take your beads and chant 1 or 2 rounds. And then you go, wait in the metro, wait for the metro. There you can run 1 round. And when you travel in the metro, instead of looking here and there, chant few rounds. So like this, you can always do extra rounds. In other words, we take out these, the wastage time and make use of it by doing more devotional service there. And that way we can reduce the gap between services and prevent Maya from entering into our lives. That way. See.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice question. Thank you. Anyone else? Nritikopal Prabhu has raised his hand. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanavad Pranam. Thank you very
Prabhu.
much.
So nice to see you.
So nice to see you too, Prabhu. Thank you very much for the wonderful class.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
So, Prabhuji, I just wanted to confirm one thing. So there's a Bhisma Panchak, which happens at the last 5 days of the Kartik month. It's not related to the last 5 days of Bhishma Dev passing away, right? It's just related to the last 5, like the
just the last 5 days of Kartik, that's all. He actually speaking, Prabhu, if you see the amount of instructions and guidance that he gives to Yudhishthira Maharaj, it was many more days actually. So while that Uttarayana is moving, we say, Bhagavatam says that way, but the Bhagavatam doesn't say how many days it happened. But Mahabharata gives so much information, like the details are so much that it would not have happened in just one day. It would have happened for many days together. And it is said, somewhere I heard, I think I read in Bhagavad only or somewhere, that every day in the morning Krishna will bring them and go back, and again the next day he will bring them, like that. It used to be like that. And imagine, the student is coming every day and hearing from you, and you can't be taking rest. You have to keep on remembering. No? So that's the point. So it is not related to only the last 5 days of Bhishma Deva's birth, I know.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I
Thank you,
request
Prabhu.
Vishnupati Mataji to give a word of thanks. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. I had last heard you in Rajkot when it was Guru Maharaj's Vyasa Puja,
Yeah,
and you
I
had given a
remember.
wonderful Bhagavatam class over there. And after a long time, I'm hearing you. That time it was face to face, and here
Yeah.
again it is face to face, but it's in a different.
Yeah.
It's a technological
Yeah,
face to face.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
through Zoom, so
Yeah.
it is so nice to hear from you, and so nicely, clearly, and in a very crisp way, you explained about what is tapa, what is vrata, and other was tapa, vrata, and tyaga.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
it was
And
wonderfully
Sankalpa.
explained. Wonderfully explained. And
Yeah,
actually,
and
you
Sankalpa.
Sankalpa, yes, Sankalpa,
Yeah,
Drida Vrata also.
Yeah.
So very nicely, and actually you took us to the Kurukshetra war, where actually Bhishma Dev was lying in the bed of arrows, piercing through his body, and not even one finger space was there. All the, I could just visualize how all his organs were pierced. So wonderfully, could visualize all these things. So very, very nice, Prabhu. There are so many things to say, but we are in short of time.
And I'm
So
sorry for the disturbance in between, otherwise.
No problem, Prabhuji. It was nothing like that. So we all actually relished and we were engrossed in your lecture, not for a single moment. I don't think so anybody could, blink our eyes also. So thank you so much. And on behalf of Auckland ISKCON, I would really like to thank you to, have taken this time and given your valuable time in enlightening us on this topic of Bhishma Panchaka. And we would like to hear more from you. So please would request.
I'm more than happy to be of service to you all.
Please, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
जय
Thank you
ग्रंथराज
so
श्रीमद्
much.
भागवतम की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रील गुरुदेव की जय, भीष्म पंचक की जय, कार्तिक व्रत की जय, श्री श्री राधा दामोदर की जय, अनंत
Thank you so much.